Rossana Storani, I want to ask you what personal experiences or challenges in your own life led you to become a life coach, especially for women?
Okay. Well, I got to a point that about 3 years ago, I got to this place where I realized that everything that I wanted, I have it. I had success. I got a pretty uh nice bank account. And I have a beautiful family. And also physically, I'm not a bad looking woman. I have everything going on that area. I had no health issues that I could not manage. And I was in a relationship with somebody that I loved a lot. But then I realized that I wasn't happy at all. Like I was totally
Mm.
miserable. The worst part is that by being miserable, having everything I wanted, I have this sense of guilt all the time. Because how could I feel miserable and unhappy when I have everything and more than I never imagined in my life? So I know there was something missing. And that's how I started my journey um, and so investigating what was going on. So I did a few changes, and one of the first things I did, I signed up for life coaching training with some company CTA, and I got certified from that company. But my intention was to grow myself, my work on my personal development, find myself again, figure out what was going on because I really didn't know what was going on. And that took me to do big changes. I ended up that relationship with somebody that I adored at the moment. And so I was with a broken heart. I closed my company. I put my company into a stop. I own a construction company in New York City for over 25 years now. And I was totally burned. I didn't want to work anymore. So I stopped that and I kind of dive into uh, reinventing myself, getting to know myself again. With that, I got a phone call at the same time from my daughter saying, "Mom, I'm pregnant again. This is baby number three. So this is my third granddaughter." So at this point, I'm already working on myself and discovering so many things. I become aware of these patterns because I already had like three divorces at the time. So I was failing in every relationship I have. I was failing, not failing entirely with my family, but my relationships were crumbling in some way. So I realized that I needed to become a role model for these girls. Three granddaughters and seeing my daughter going through the same footsteps that I was. I'm like, I have to make a change here. So I become obsessive about learning everything that was possible. I attend so many seminars, learn as much as I could. I actually got certified by Tony Robin Madanes training as a life coach and also as a working with women coach. I am not exclusive a woman coach. I can coach anybody that wanted to be coach. It's just that I tend to attract women that are like middle age with the same feelings that I did have 3 years ago. They stack on the same with the same problems, with the same lack of vision. So and that's how I started my career as a life coach.
I love that, and I want to get into what you said. Maybe we could break into your story before we get into because I think this is going to help a lot of women. One of the things that you said that I think was really interesting is you said you were miserable. So here you have a company that you built 25 years, New York City construction company. Here you have, like you said, the love of your life. You have everything that a woman would want. Of what was geared the American dream. That this is what you want and yet you were miserable. I just got done watching the last episode of White Lotus, that real popular show.
I watch.
And then I know, yeah. And so all three seasons, it shows these people that have money and they're successful and they're all, just drinking tons of alcohol and they're all miserable. And you use that word. Why do you think, why do you think you in particular were miserable?
Well, I felt like I was feeling in something I didn't know what it was. I know that I was miserable because I did drink alcohol every night before I went to sleep. And that put me to sleep.
Mhm.
But I was up in 3 or 4 hours. And I have this, I guess it's like a fear, when you wake up and you don't know how things, it was a control issue. It was like I have the fear of failing even when I wasn't failing. And I was showing success in all the areas. But I also had difficulties in relating with people. I was over controlling, over judgmental. So I guess that was makes somebody miserable. Miserable is when
Right.
you are constantly expecting from others to do the things that really, if you want to feel fulfilled, you have to do them for yourself. Yeah, that was it. I have health issues at the time. I mean, I work out my entire life, but I was working out for the physique. I was working out because, and like I would say it's like punish your body mode, which is you have to do certain workouts just to keep your body tuned. You have to look good. And which today I do keep working out, work out every day, but it's a
Mhm.
totally different story. I have fun with it. I just do
Mm.
it for to get my energy. I want to be healthy. I want to play with my grandkids. I want to be able to jump around. I want to be able to go out in the world with a smile. I mean, to me, is my hour of power. This is what it is. It's my beginning. Is when I get the energy to go through my day. So yeah, that was the feeling that I guess I wasn't forgiven. I was more for receiving. So
So it was kind of like you're trying to control everything. And then at the same time, you have all these expectations that are unfulfilled. So it kind of creates this dichotomy inside of yourself. It's like, do you feel like you didn't know where to go or what to do? I mean, obviously you were successful in your business. So did you just work a ton?
it was
Like how did that work?
I work all the time. I did work a lot of hours, even when I was on vacation. My daughter lives in Argentina, so I travel a lot. But even when I was there, I could be interrupted by the phone for work all the time. Work for me was a
Mm.
priority. That was first because that's what generates the income to support everybody else. It was
Right,
so
right, right.
wrong the way I was seeing that. And then I could not delegate because I never feel like anybody will do the things the way they should be done. So I thought that if I did not do everything, things would not get done in the right way. So
Mhm.
that is not possible for no one of us to be able to be everywhere doing everything. But that was me. So I was overworking. I was living not only my life, but I was living my daughter's life, my granddaughter, my partner at the time, and everybody that come close to me, I will make sure I design their life and I told them how to live. So it was exhausting. It was totally exhausted.
No, I could imagine. When you talk to women, and what do you believe women in particular need, as far as a structured approach? I know you have your 7-step method, which we encourage people to download. That'll be in the show notes so they can download. That's a free ebook that you give out to everyone. What does that look like? And why do you have it as like a structured approach of these 7 steps to find fulfillment in their lives? Because we go from miserable to fulfillment. And
Right.
you use these 7 steps to do that. What does that look like? What's your philosophy on that?
Well, I practice that, and that is what it changed my life. So I figure if I
Mhm.
felt this way, and now by doing these little things, I get to feel this way. And this is not a fake. I'm 100% happy every single day, all the time for the last 2 years, I would say. So, do I have
Mm.
problems? Yeah, I have problems like everybody else. I just have a different way to face my challenges.
Mhm.
Use the strategies like the 90 second. I give myself 90 seconds to change my state of mind. So when the bad thought come, then it's like 90 second. I can figure out what it is, where does it come from, give it a different meaning, change the emotion, and my whole life changed to that. precise 90 seconds. So I figure it is my obligation now because I know at work, besides working around myself, then family members start applying these things.
Mhm.
Daughter is
Mhm.
my daughter, besides being my muse into my self change, she was one of my first clients. So I can see the change on her. So to me right now, it's my obligation to share this with other women because nobody should be living a life feeling miserable. There is no
Mhm.
reason why we should do that because life is life and life is going to go as it is. You have zero control over that. So it's better if you can come to life from a different perspective, ready for uh, to have fun. Stop being ready for the fight. Come to live your days, your life, ready for the fun. Be curious. Become a child. Be curious. What is it going to happen today? I mean, it makes so much difference when you get up and you say, "Oh my God, another day. What is it going to happen today? Who I'm going to bump into it?" I mean, all these things that can happen when you're ready. You see all the opportunities that they give you. And it's just so different. And the 7-step path, I find it is an easy and fine process to get what you want. Very easy because it's a step by step. See, I seen women, and I can't really say today it's just women because there are men right now that are doing the things that women only used to do. So it's general for whoever have this type of lifestyle where you have so many roles besides being the mom or the dad, the homemaker, the one that does the groceries, the one that cook, the ones that take care of the school stuff, go to the meeting, school meeting. Besides that, you have a job. So you also, either you are an employee for somebody or you are a business owner, what you have. So you have all these different roles where it tends to overwhelm us and make us feel like out of breath, like there is never time enough. And I find out that by giving this woman's structure, you don't have to do anything this month or this week. Depends when the client comes, is depend on the need and that readiness on doing the work is where we set up sometimes for things. Let's go to the first step and let's just spend this whole month thinking about what is that you want. Let's go and figure out all the areas of your life. Let's make, let's write down all the areas. Tell me how you feel physically with your health. How do you feel professionally in your career? How do you feel in your relationships with your children, with your intimate partner, with your friends? Find out in all these areas. It's surprising how all of us have one or two areas where we are really happy on where we are. Because in some way, you have to be happy in one area because you have to cover your needs for that. So, and then there is that one area that nobody wants to face because it's the area that you feel totally bad about it, disappointed. So, okay. So, what do you think is the one thing you can do? What is the one thing you want to improve in that area? So, whatever it is, it might be an overweight person and say, I really would like to have more energy. I mean, I met with a almost 30-year-old girl a couple of days ago. She said, I have no energy, zero energy. For it. And I mean, and when I hear that from such a young age, what do you mean you have no, I have no energy. How do you generate that? What do you want to change? Do you want to feel energetic? Do you want to be able to have that energy to be around to do the things you want and to inspire other people? So it's starting with one little step, and that's a 7-step path. And when you got to the first step, then let's go to the second. What is the second step? Face the truth. What is the obstacle that you've been facing up to now that is keeping you in that spot? Because if you are in that spot, there is something in front of you that doesn't allow you to go forward. So let's figure out what the obstacle is. I don't know. Maybe you have your pantry full of cookies. Throw them away. So you find the problem and you find a way to solve it. So, and it's step by step. And it's just so much fun because then what I find out is when they go through the steps and they go through the first one and they have a clear vision of what they want, they design that vision. It's like the compelling future. They already feel better because they have something to look forward for. So it doesn't matter what you tell them. What is the next step? Okay, bring the next step. What are we going to find out? I mean, even finding out the obstacles that you have, it can be like, wow, because sometimes it's such a little thing. It's so easy to go around it, to go over and keep moving forward. But, most of us, we stuck because first, we don't know what we want, which is really sad. It's like getting to a car and say, I'm going on a trip. You get in the car, you start going, but you have no destination. So, I mean, where do you go? You go around somewhere until you figure out where you want to go. So your life, yeah, there are so many of us that we live our lives. I mean, I lived 50 years of my life. I know I accomplished a lot of things. I think a lot of the things that I accomplished, it was because I was put against the wall. Like either you have to do it or it's going to be bad. So, but I wasn't conscious. This is what I want for my life. It's why I wasn't happy. I was living life. I was letting life design my life. Other people design my life. And I wasn't responsible. So I was not making decisions based on things that I wanted for me.
You feel like, I know on step 4, you talk about kissing the frog and facing your dragons.
Yeah.
What are examples, or how have you guided women through tough challenges using these steps? Can you go into that, kissing the frog and facing your dragons?
Yeah. That is killing a belief most of the times. That's the step 4, which I love because I love challenges. And I also like the feeling of when you do something that you know is hard and you do it, then the feeling of like you're like superwoman. So I use different techniques. That depends on the person that is going through that. But on the first 3 steps are kind of preparing you for that moment because now you work hard, you know what you want, you understand what is your reason, because literally the why is your fuel. It's how you go into, it's what is going to help you and to move to the next step. You have to have a good reason. And then you face the truth. What is your obstacle? And then you set massive action plan. So then when you get to the step forward, it's a kiss the dragon. You have the action plan. You have the list of things that you can start doing in order to get closer to your what, to your goal, to the result. Then what are the ways that we do this? Look, first, getting away from the fear of failure, because a lot of people don't take action because they're afraid of what are they going to say? What if I can't make it? The reality is, I always tell them, you have the resources within you. There is nothing in this world that if you really want it and you have a good why, you are not going to get there. So I say the example like, there are 2 buildings, you're standing on one side and they telling you to jump to the other building. I'm like, no, no way. I will not do that. But if I tell you that on the other side of the building is your child, and by you jumping, you can save his life or her life, you will find the resources within you to jump over and save your child. So we all have that. We just have to find the leverage that will get you into doing it. So nobody like, do I like to get up in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, jump out of bed, get on my workout clothes, low zero temperatures, getting out of my house, go to the gym? I love it now. Did I like it at the beginning? No. Did I like to get up that early? No. But now I developed that practice. So you just have to, okay, one of the things that I do, attach something pleasurable to something you don't like to do. So if my workout is delightful, I mean, you work out with me for the last 2 days, pretty much. You were with me the whole entire time that I work out because I'm listening to your podcast. And it was very inspiring to me. So that gives me pleasure. It gives good fit to my mind, but when the mind is busy doing these things, it doesn't have the time to tell you you're exhausted. Get out of that treadmill. Stop. Your body's tired. because this is what the mind does to us. So attach
Mhm.
something pleasurable to something you don't like to do. And then that thing, it will become a pleasure too. Or at least it will become insignificant. So
Yeah, no, I love that. When you talk about like frogs and dragons,
the
like
frog
a
is
frog is a frog.
the prince. If you want the prince, you have to
Mhm,
kiss the frog. So it's more for women, kiss the frog. So if you want the prince,
mhm,
if you want, this is like a story that somebody used to tell me when I was little. We fantasize with the prince. The prince, let's put it now as a metaphorical thing for something that we really want in your life. You want that. So if you want that, you have to do what is ugly. Who's going to go kiss a frog expecting the prince is going to show up there? That is the ugly part. You have to do something that is not that pleasurable in order to gain the pleasure
mhm,
that will bring you to that. So face the dragon. I mean, I know for by my experience so many times I was terrified on doing things. I have done things in my life that I really had to get out of my comfort zone in order to do them. And to me, face the dragon is that, I have fear, but I'm much stronger than fear. So I face the
mhm.
fear. It's like face my dragon. You are not gonna stop me. The opposite. You giving me the strength to go much more stronger to do this. Because now you only not only you have to overcome the fear, you still have to do the thing. So you need to be much more stronger. So you use it in your favor. Oh,
Yeah, I found on that one, like a lot of my dragons were me not so much being fearful, I would use that word, but it was kind of more me losing control. And that would scare me, that I would lose control in a situation if I went above him, if I did something, even to the point of, and then I've talked to a lot of women with this too, is the fear of outshining others. So I'll downplay myself. I won't say what I should say. I won't, act this way because I want to make sure that I'm meek and small and pretty, so even that, is a form of trying to control things constantly. And you mentioned that, in your own life, trying to it's like herding cats, it's impossible. And I've had that in my own life too. You focus on measuring progress and raising standards. I want to know, how do you teach women to track their growth specifically, especially in a way that keeps them motivated rather than discouraged?
well, that's when small goals, small outcomes are necessary to learn before you go for the big ones. So um, I teach that it's good to have a goal that you create the night before for the day. Like, oh, okay, tomorrow I'm going to, I don't know, clean the closet, whatever it is. A small goal that is totally achievable that you can set yourself for celebration. Because once you achieve a
Mm,
goal, you can celebrate. So the measurement comes in like goals, like we say, goals that are more like 3 months goal or 6 months ago. Even a weekly goal, you can use the measurement because these are bigger goals that they say, okay, let's set up goals from here to the end of the year, December 31st. I mean, you'll hear me if you see me on social media. I'm big on goal and I kind of do these challenges to people. Okay, let's set up a goal for the second quarter of this year, because it's important to have things going on. You can't wait until December 31st and turn around and say, "Oh, did I got it? No, I didn't. How close I am to my goal?" Because you can set a date, but that doesn't mean if you, by that date, you didn't achieve that you fail. No, maybe you need more time.
mhm.
Maybe you need to do other things. So it's always good to measure, to look back. Am I getting closer? Like, let's say you want to lose 20 pounds and you give yourself 3 months and you change your diet, you change your lifestyle, you going for a walk 2 miles a day. I don't know, whatever the actions you're taking. You're not going to wait 3 months and wait yourself and see how I'm doing. Most likely, the best thing is like once a week you get on the scale, sit down, lose the weight, or look in your clothes. Is my clothes getting looser? Or did I have to go to the store and get a bigger size? Because in that case, what are you doing is not working. So the measure often is important because it aligns you into get into your result. It's keep your focus and to get into the result. And it's telling you if the actions that you've taken are effective or are not effective. So you have the opportunity to change the action, to try something different, to finally you're gonna find the thing that's gonna work. And again, if you go on a trip, you say you want to go, I'm in New York. I'm in New York. Let's go to New York City. Get in the car, start driving, in 1 hour, like, well, here a lot of traffic here. In a half an hour, like, where am I? Am I getting closer? No, I'm going on the other direction. Well, maybe I want to measure and see it, turn around and, I'll shift a little to get to my destination. So that's what measure often is. And it's so important not to waste your time. I love time. I love my time. I want to do so many things in my life. I believe I have a good chunk of years coming up. So I want to do a lot of things. And to me, time is precious.
Yeah, I know, Rosanna, you have, and I want everyone to, like I said, we'll have the link for this, but you have a special event coming up. It's a 2-hour dynamic event for women. And this is what you're going to talk about, the goal setting, the power experience. Can you go a little bit into what this community is, what this event is? Because it's coming up in like a couple weeks, right?
Sure. Yes. It's April 17th. It's an in person event. What happened is I do a lot of online and most of my sessions, everything is online, Zoom. I miss that connection, the physical connection, that in-person connection. And I happened there one day, like, okay, let's try something different. I wanted to be able to do something in the community. And my coach actually pushed me into that because I've been talking about that for months. And she's like, okay, I feel like you are in your comfort zone. What happened with that group that you wanted to create? And, that's going to be your homework. So I did last month. I did the first meeting, and it was wonderful. It's limited to like 10 people right now. I'm trying to expand it because it was like an experiment to see if people really would be interested. It is a woman group. The intention was to create a safe space where women can come and share their experiences. Of course, it is a set of guidelines where there is no judgment. There is not advice given. Nobody's better than nobody. Everybody is allowed to share, to tell, either you're going through obstacles, facing challenges now, or maybe you can celebrate achievement, tell us. Or maybe one person is had this challenge that the other woman resolved it, I don't know, a year or 2 years ago. And it's like creating this environment where we can all get together and talk about ourselves. I mean, women are, we are amazing. But besides that, we like to talk about our emotions. We like to engage on that. And it's just beautiful. So I had it last month and it was more like getting to know each other, and see how it works, see if people will engage in doing that. So then after the event, we say goodbye. I kind of give them like a workbook so they can work into the beginning, into getting into the 7th step, which the beginning is more like self-knowledge. Let's get to know yourself again. Figure out about all these areas, the things that I was telling you before, and to get ready to go for the goal setting. But I never heard anything, and I was like, maybe not so sure. Again, I was telling my little voice was telling me, forget about it. This is not gonna work out. And then I bumped into one of the women that was present in the event, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. I had so much fun. When is it gonna be the next one? When is the event in April?" Okay, she said, and I met with somebody else on another event, and she was so happy. You changed her life. This is so great. We all waiting for the next event. So I'm like, well, I'm in it. So now we have an April 17th. We have an event. It's going to be to set up one goal for the month because we meeting once a month. It's local in my town here, Rockville Center. I'm going to try to make it bigger and eventually maybe do both, like Zoom and in person. So because some other people want to jump into, so maybe I make like a Zoom in person and virtual. But for now, is that's what it is. We're gonna work and set up one goal and first celebrate one achievement, because the important thing is you have to acknowledge something that you achieve in your life to give you the confidence that you can set a goal and achieve again. And we all have an achievement in our lives, but none of us, I mean, at least for me, it took me a while to realize the things that I achieve in my life. I never celebrate my achievements. I thought there were things that I
Mhm.
did. So I think it's important to learn that we do have achievements, recognize them, be aware, share what was your big achievement in your life that you want to bring in today, and remember the strategy you use to achieve that. And maybe that same strategy is going to help you into achieving whatever goal you're going to set for you for next month. And that's how it's going to be fun.
No, that's awesome. And I want to get into your one-on-one coaching. Last question I want to ask you about is this feeling of being unfulfilled, and I know like you had this miserable feeling and you were explaining that, but what's this like unfulfilled feeling? Because obviously you kind of recreated yourself and made like a 2.0 version of you, and you went drastic, like everything out of my life, moved, like bulldozed everything down and then went into this new you. What were you unfulfilled, and why do you think most women, whether they're, like you said, 30 with no energy or 50, why do they feel unfulfilled?
Well, I think for me, I can't talk for it, but I've noticed that a lot of women that I have shared this with, they relate to that. If especially if you have children, we are the unfulfilling come from lack of contribution is what I think it is, because now that I feel fulfilled, I realize that I do so my life is so much better now, but in everywhere. I mean, like my finances are there, everything is going great. I have the same amount of time, but now I'm not focusing on what I'm doing for me. I'm focusing on doing things for other people, which makes totally sense. So I was used to doing a lot of things for other people, but in a different way with tons of expectation. With like I did a lot of things for my daughter. I was expecting a lot from them because I wasn't given from the point of giving. I was given with this expectation of receiving back. And that
Mhm.
is always gonna make you unfulfilled, because you cannot expect your happiness to come from other people. So it was frustration all the time, because if I was good at my job, I expected my clients to consider that, to recognize that. If I was good to my employees, I expected them to perform better. Now it's totally different. I'm like, I let them perform. I'm not more an operator in my company. I don't operate my company anymore. I own it and I allow people to work and to perform themselves. And yeah, I'm there. I'm there to for whatever they need, but I always give them a chance to do it on their own. So I think the unfulfilling part came from that. Too much
Mhm,
expectation for others to fill up the gap, the same with my
mhm.
intimate relationships. It was the expectation of the other person to do, to give. But I wasn't focused on what am I giving? Is the other person the first in my life? Am I putting the other people first, or it's just me, 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 me? When you focus on yourself, that would create great misery. So,
Yeah, that
yeah,
that makes so
exactly.
much sense. Yeah, that's so true, and that's what I found in my life when I was giving with an expectation. It was basically me just being narcissistic. So I would give for something, that I would get attention, or that somebody would, give me praise or something like that. I do want people to make sure that they download your free ebook, and we'll have that. It's 7 Steps to an Extraordinary Life, and we'll make sure that we have that link in there. But I also want people to know that you do one-on-one coaching, you have ongoing client support. Can you talk a little bit about your Instagram and how people could get a hold of you?
Yes, I'm big on Instagram mainly because I reach so many people, and I love the fact that if I get one message saying, "Hey, you just changed my life with that video," that is my day amazing. So it's crazy because I post videos pretty much. I don't know, 2, 3 times a week. And my videos are all done in my car because it's when I get out of my hour of power. I'm inspired for what I'm listening. I have to share this. So you guys got to
Mhm.
listen to this because this is like what I just hear. What is your story? But so yeah, I'm big on that. And my Instagram, you can find a link. I have different plans for coaching. I do offer and every now and then I do like workshops or quiz or tests or stuff that you can grab on my Instagram for free. And if you ever want to discuss anything, you can have a free coaching session for half an hour to go over that, even to go over the 7-step path of how to get started into creating a goal. I mean, half an hour of coaching is not a lot, but it can give you the change, the experience of what it is to have. I had a coach personally, and to me, that have facilitated me into achieving a lot in the last 3 years. I think that she is an important part of who I am right now, too. So yeah, and I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, and I am creating a workshop. I want to do it's 12 weeks. It's going to be a limited amount. I don't know how many women. It's going to be for women, and it's going to be pretty much where we talk, and it's going to happen in 12 weeks. So it's like a easy 3 months. Let's get together one a week. We probably gonna be 10 or 15, and let's work on that.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Rosanna. I appreciate you being on the podcast today. And we're going to have your Instagram links and, your first 30 minutes for one-on-one coaching. We'll make sure we have that. And then I do want to talk to you a little bit more off air on that 12 weeks so we can help you promote that. Thank you for being on the episode today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.